What's going on, ladies and gents? Marvel Across 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 72. And today's title is Hobgoblin Part 1. And so we're going to, once again, this is a slow-moving process. Going to be many parts to this storyline with the Hobgoblin. And so let's go ahead now and get started with today's issue. We have a big surprise return today in this issue. I won't reveal who that is yet, but let's go back way into the past, exactly 9 months ago, when Peter Parker became Spider-Man. We saw that he was bitten by a radioactive spider, and he flung that spider after being bit, and he was in an immense amount of pain. That spider then landed right on Mary Jane Watson. She swats it off, and then Kong is the one that squishes it with his foot. And we see that everybody's laughing at him. Of course, Peter Parker is always being the one that's being bullied, especially by Flash Thompson here. And so this was on a field trip to this science museum. And on the bus ride, we saw that everybody was looking at Peter Parker, wondering exactly what's up with him. And Peter and MJ have always been close friends. If you didn't know, if you haven't been keeping up with this series, Mary Jane and Peter, before they even began dating, they were best friends. They lived in the same neighborhood. And so what we see here as we continue to look at a little bit of this backstory here is we're going to reveal something that we haven't known about Mary Jane. And that is that she also liked Harry Osborne. So one day we see that Harry Osborne, I think this is actually the same day that Peter was bitten by that spider, he comes by Mary Jane's house and they start talking and stuff. And he basically says, "So, is Peter your boyfriend?" And she's like, "Oh, stop it, Harry." And Harry says, "Thought you guys were getting all snuggly there on the bus." And Mary Jane says, "Oh, did you? How could you tell when you refused to make eye contact with me in public?" Harry then says, "That's what I thought. You were trying to make me jealous." He says, "You can't keep me at arm's length in front of your friends and then give me crap for it too." Then Harry says, "I'm not keeping at arm's length." She says, "We should sit together on the bus then." He says, "We will. We will." He said, "Well, when?" "It's not you." He said, "I know. It's not. I know. I know who it is. It's my dad." "No, it's you. Harry, my dad's an a-hole too. But you're allowed to come over my house." And then he says, "My dad is not a..." And then she's like, "Oh, sorry." He said, "It's okay. I didn't mean to make you feel like I don't like you. I do like you. There's so much going on and I've never had a girlfriend." So what about Liz? And Harry says, "Oh, blondes are just for practice." She's, "Oh, gross." And he's like, "I'm joking." She says, "You are not." They look at each other. He teases her a little bit and says, "You should lose the glasses. You look way hot without them." And so then what we see here is they kiss, folks. They kiss. And I mean, it's not just one kiss, it's a passionate kiss. But let's go now into the present here. We see that there's this one guy. I don't know exactly who this guy is, but he can shoot lightning bolts out of his wrist here. I really don't know who this is. I should have looked him up. But anyway, it looks like he has defeated Spider-Man, and he's come to this scientific facility here, and he's demanding these scientists here to give him adamantium. I don't know exactly why. We know that Wolverine has adamantium in his bones, but I don't know exactly who this guy is and why he wants adamantium. But anyway, we see while they're talking, he said, "Look, I will cut him open and spill him all over the floor." The scientists then say, we don't even know who this guy is. Go ahead." But Spider-Man was playing possum. He beats this guy up, and he's going to make quick work out of this guy. And he's like, "No webbing or no kicking? You really have to be more specific." He said, "Woo, anyone want to tell me about what was about? What's adamantium exactly? And why does Goofball here want it?" And he said, "You know what? Whatever. Oh, is that the time? Okay, I gotta skedaddle. I have another group of ungrateful weasels to save across town. Hey, when the police come, make sure you stare at them blankly too. Oh, and if one of you could blame me for all of this, that would be great. So he's swinging on by. He's like, man, I'm going to lose. I'm not getting to eat lunch here. I was just going to suit up and pay a visit to the Daily Bugle when I was attacked by that freak. Now I'm not going to be able to go and eat lunch. He says lunch is almost over. So Peter Parker makes it back to school. And look who is back, folks. The return of Harry Osborne. Now, we haven't seen Harry Osborne since the whole incident when Peter fought his dad, the Green Goblin. And Harry Osborne realized that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But it looks like Harry Osborne is acting normal here, which is kind of strange, knowing that he has the knowledge of who Spider-Man is. So we see Peter is then going to have a talk with Mary Jane. He says, look, Mary, I don't know what he said or why he's back, but he's like, well, it's Harry. So I know, but look, it's not just his dad. Harry's dangerous, okay? And you need to stay away from him. He says, I'm not talking to you like anything. Every time I ask you to do something, you give me 20 stupid questions. Don't ask me questions, just say okay. And Peter then says, and every time you don't listen to me, you get thrown off a bridge. So could you do me just a favor and do what I say? So he yells at Mary Jane. She then gets upset and says, I didn't kill Gwen. And she runs off upset. After school, Peter comes by the house. It looks like they're getting ready to move here to another house down the street. And she's like, hey, where's Mary Jane? I thought she was going to help us. And Peter doesn't want to tell his aunt that they gotten into a fight. And so Peter's like, all right, I'm going to need to go pack up my things in the basement. And so he's packing his stuff up. He's like, you know what? I should take my costume and throw it down the river. But I keep suiting up for some reason, even though I told myself I wasn't going to be Spider-Man anymore. I don't know why I keep doing this. So he starts thinking about Harry Osborne, and out of the shadows comes Harry Osborne. And he's like, you guys moving away? I just got back and you're moving away. Peter's like, we got a new house a couple of blocks away. No big whoop. I said, why? Well, first my Uncle Ben died here, and then this girl, Gwen Stacy, yeah. She died here too just recently, and Aunt May wants to not be here anymore. Harry says, sure, ghost and all, I can dig that. Peter's like, all right, let's cut to the chase. Why are you here? And why are you back? Where have you been? He said, oh, around. He said, okay, I'm joking. They sent me away. I was sent to some place in Colorado. It was pretty nice, actually. They were just keeping me away from my supervillain father till, I don't know, it was safe to come out. So you do remember what happened. Remember? Peter shows him the Spider-Man costume, and Peter says, what do you want from me, Harry? Harry looks at the Spider-Man mask. He then says, just trying to put things in perspective. I've been thinking about you a lot, thinking about our lives. See, there's this funny thing going on with you and me. I don't know if you know. You get superpowers and become a famous superhero. My life, as I knew it, ends. You get to be Spider-Man and my dad kills my mom. Every time my father goes nuts, there you are. And I come back to Queens. And who's dating my girlfriend? What? Yeah, that's right, folks. Harry Osborne thinks that Mary Jane is his girlfriend. So this is big news to Peter, and this is how we end this issue, folks. It looks like we have a love triangle now between Harry Osborne, Mary Jane, and Peter Parker. And so what is going to happen up next? We have a lot to look forward to as we look at issue number 73 coming up next. But before then, go ahead now and give this video a like. Comment down below what you liked about this issue. Subscribe if you have not, and I will see y'all in the next one.